And what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Designated Players and MLS podcast. The 2026 season is right around the corner, which means it is time for our annual predictions episode. End of the season table predictions, end of the season award predictions, crazy bold predictions that would be mental if they hit, and how many episodes Connor's actually going to record with us this year. And yes, that's right. You can see him. He is here after 31 episodes alone. I'm joined by super special guest, Connor Wright. How we doing, buddy?
I'm so happy that you're having me on the podcast. Really grateful. Maybe you'll have me on again in the future, but we'll see. Depends on how well this goes.
Yeah, listen, you're fighting for your life right now.
That's
Oh
true. That's a
man,
good point.
it is so good to have you back. It's been not as fun without you, mainly because we just missed the cold takes, man. We missed the I've watched 4 minutes of soccer in the last 2 years, and this is
Missing
what I'm
missing the
talking about.
fence sitting, the lukewarm
Yeah, what do we
takes.
do without it? It's going to be fun, and hopefully this year we're going to get you to actually watch some games. There's no secondary paywall you got to worry about. It's all right there in front of you. You just got to click, and there it is.
Yeah, don't worry. They already charged me my money for this, so I'm forced to be locked in no matter what.
Locked in. I should double check. I heard people got charged for MLS season pass, even though it got taken away. So I got to double check that that's gone. Well, anyways, listen, we'll pick up before and after. But do you remember what comes after the intro? Do you know what we do next?
I think we usually talk about like something soccer related,
Yeah,
if I had to guess.
sometimes. Yeah, I think we start with what's around your neck. What are you rocking for scarf of the week?
I got a new one.
It
This one is
is.
one of my favorites. This is a sick one. Wow, it really zoomed in on my face there.
Jesus. Oh,
I
is that
can't
the
see
sunny
if it's
one?
in frame, but it's the sun scarf. Yeah,
Oh, that's
so it's got
sick.
Korean on one side and there's English on the other. But it is a sick scarf. It is an awesome one. I already had an LAFC one, but this one was so cool I had to get another.
That sounds like one of the top ones in your collection for sure. I uh I got a friend who's getting into MLS and big Bayern Munich fan. And obviously Thomas Muller had a scarf just like that. And I didn't get it because I didn't really, need it, but she was all about, this is such a cool scarf, such a cool scarf. So she's got that one and she loves it just like that. So super, super neat. Haven't broken this one out in a while, the very plain New York Red Bull, but
Plain like your takes are going to be today.
meets in the middle, so it gets some bonus points. Yeah, I've run out of room. I've officially started overlapping over the last couple of weeks, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, there's room over here I'm going to have to expand to, I guess, but yeah, I've run out of room. I might need another house just to store the
Yeah.
scarves. We'll see.
You're gonna have to start expanding your walls. You're just gonna have random walls around just for scarves.
Just cut this room in half with the walls, but see through and windows so
Yeah.
you can see through it. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we've done our banter. We've done the startup. Only one thing left to do.
Yeah,
I
it's
almost want to
scary.
do something. I almost want to do something crazy and like start with awards predictions first, or
I'm here
bold
for
predictions
crazy.
first.
I'm here for crazy. I think bold predictions first could be interesting because
I
usually it's
think,
like, oh, you go through the standings and then we're like, all right, well, all these bold predictions make sense because we just covered all these standings predictions.
yeah, let's do it. Let's mix it up a little bit. Listen, we're a professional pod. We can do what we want. That's where we're at now. I'll let you start it off. Your first time back all season. Why don't you give me a little bold prediction number one? And I'm
All right.
recording them by the way, so we can track them by the end of the season. So
Yeah, I mean, we always revisit it. You don't have to record it. I have it in a file. I'm
no,
an
I'm
Excel
I'm
nerd.
recording it on the file.
I have my own file. I'll just
Yeah,
send you
but
the
now I have
file.
the file together. Oh God, our listeners missed this. I know they did.
5 minutes back, and we're already back to bickering.
What do you got for me? Give me bold prediction number one.
All right, so number one is it's not gonna sound like a bold prediction, but those that know will know that this is truly a bold prediction. But I'm saying that the Vancouver Whitecaps are going to keep the whole team intact for the entire season and not sell anyone major during the year.
I don't
Tell me,
know.
tell
It's
me the last time you remember when Vancouver didn't sell somebody during the middle of the year.
Did they sell somebody important at the summer this year?
I mean, I don't know how much he was playing at that point, but they sold Pedro Vite, I think, during the summer.
Okay, I'll give you that. It was. I don't think it was during the summer specifically, but it was after their. We'll have to look that up.
I think it was after the season started.
Yeah, it was after the season started. I'll give you that. Okay, I'll let it go.
Listen, well, here, let me defend it a little bit more, right? Like they have after the season that they had, they're in prime position to be gutting this team and selling them. All they've done historically when they've had seasons like they had in the past, this last year, they would just gut the team and sell high on them. Like you tell them, Sebastian Berhalter is primed to be sold for a few million dollars, and I think they're going to go against their instincts and keep the team together this year. I don't think any of those guys that are key pieces to that starting 11 are going anywhere.
It doesn't have any, I guess it really doesn't have an impact on like results and stuff, but I like it. It's unique, it's different.
Oh, it
Um,
does because if Vancouver sells everybody, they're gonna start to suck.
well, clearly not, because they sold Pedro Vite last year and they almost won multiple trophies. So I like it though. You're right. 'Cause I've got something about kind of the post World Cup run as well, and we'll talk about that. But my first one here is really crazy. I think that there are going to be two records set in the table this year. Points record is going to be reset again, and the record for least number of points is going to be set this year. There are some
Oh, wow,
terrible,
quite the
terrible,
divide.
terrible teams this year. I think this is where we start to see this big split between the haves and the have-nots. We've started to see it grow year over year, but I really think we see a big split here. I do want to caveat this is points per game and non-COVID year because you had the COVID year where you played like 15 games and teams finished up with like 9 points or whatever, and then you had the later seasons where you only played 25 games, right? So I'm going to go off a points per game basis and exclude the 2020 season. But I do think there's going to be a team that sets a record for points this year. No spoiler alerts. This is good because we won't have to give it away on the table first. But and I do think there are a handful of teams that are primed to not only win the wooden spoon. There's going to be a race for the wooden spoon this year, and it's going to be a historic race, one where it's like a four-team winner avoids the spoon sort of thing on the last day of the season. It's going to be elite, and I can't wait for it because I'm a sicko.
I can't say I can disagree with you on that one. At least on the wooden spoon part, I really do feel like I agree. There are some really bad teams heading into. I mean, granted, listen, there's still time for them to fix it, but as of right now, as of today recording, there are some really bad teams out there.
Yes, and unfortunately, we have to make our predictions bold and standing predictions based off of what we have now, not what's coming down the pipeline. So, if your team gets shafted, we're making this known so that when we come and revisit this at the end of the year, we explain why we have those sorts of things.
Exactly.
But what are you
Uh,
rocking at number two?
my number two actually kind of goes well with your number one here. I'm also going for a record breaker this year, but I'm saying that the record for the most goals scored in a season by a team will be broken this year. So the record right now, as it stands, is held by 2019 LAFC and the 1998 Galaxy, I believe.
Really?
I think that record is getting broken this year.
What was the number?
I think it was 85 goals.
Which is crazy because Miami last year was at 81. I mean, I didn't realize how close they would have been. But I'll let you look it up because I was very close to also putting the goals in a season gets broken this year. I thought that there might have been a big race at the top for the goals individual, but then with the World Cup coming up, I think maybe that falls away a little bit.
Well, you know what? That's good. It is 85 goals. Oh no, sorry. Oh, that's include. Sorry, it popped up with Miami first, but they're including the playoff goals,
Playoffs,
which
sure, sure,
I'm not
sure.
just regular season. But yeah, I mean, the World Cup was actually kind of the reason why I was thinking this because I feel like with the World Cup coming up, at least for the first half of the season, you could see guys just trying to go above and beyond and giving that extra effort to try and make their case for making a World Cup squad. So with that being the case, I think obviously goals and assists outside of the defender position, like is going to draw the eyes for people and get people recognized. So I think people are going to go that extra mile to try to get as many goals or assists or as many goal contributions as they can.
I like it. You're, so we're at this point already where we've been recording for about 4 minutes now, and I'm already looking at my awards predictions and trying to make changes because I'm not setting them, and I'm already not feeling good about them. My number two is based around our friends at Inter Miami, and I think that they were the first American team, well, MLS team to win a CONCACAF Champions Cup and something else. I think that they're going to win Champions Cup and they're going to go down and do something like MLS Cup or Supporter Shield or I don't know if I'd count Leagues Cup in that. I think it's kind of a cheapo way to get one, but I think that they're going to have a very, very good year.
Mm, all right.
Yeah.
It's funny because that leads me into my bold prediction number three too, because mine is also Inter Miami related, but mine is pretty in a pretty different vein, I would say. My prediction here, and maybe this will end up being not as much of a bold prediction as this is, but I'm saying that I don't think Luis Suarez is going to break 800 minutes played this season.
Nice.
I think with Berterame coming in and with Suarez kind of almost being phased out a bit towards the end of that playoff stretch, I feel like the torch has been passed and Suarez's time in Miami is starting to go down. I was kind of surprised they brought him back in the first place, but I can understand he may have some moments to play there, but I think majority of the time is going to be starting to transition to the next steps for Miami, and I don't think Suarez is part of that.
I don't think it's that bold. I'm going to be honest with you. I think
Probably. I
it's
mean, maybe you want me to. Maybe I could cut the minutes down more.
yeah,
Would
you
you
could
call it
if you make it
bold?
like 500, I
Would you call it bold if I went 600? 600 minutes played.
550. Let's meet in the middle.
All right, five less than 550 minutes played.
What's the poly market odds on that? I need to know now that MLS is partnering with them. I need to know where we're at.
Get the
Um,
Kalshi bet going on.
I've got one here, but I might change it because it's kind of lame and it doesn't really fit with ML. I mean, kind of does, but originally it was that after the World Cup, we see five USMNT regulars make summer moves to MLS, right? The Weston McKennies of the world, the Tim Weahs, the Yunus Musas, those sorts of guys. But I think it's kind of lame, so I'm going to go and spice it up a little bit. And I feel lame because everything I have is all Inter Miami coded now. But Lionel Messi will not win an individual award this year. No MVP, no Golden Boot, no nothing. He just exists. And I'm thinking about it this way because we were just talking about the World Cup. World Cup was on my mind with the original prediction, but the idea, or I've heard floating around that in and around the World Cup, 5 weeks beforehand, he is going to gear down and only focus on playing in that tournament. He's not going to have a lot of minutes in MLS. He's only going to play when he's, feeling like he needs to get some minutes under his boot. Like they're going to gear him down. So, my anticipation is that drops his stats to the point where he's not going to score as many goals, and he won't win MVP either.
Well, I could tell you a little hint, hint. My awards predictions seem to be in line with your bold prediction.
Way. Listen, did I when I and this is kind of goes back to what I was saying before is I started moving things around in my awards prediction because did I just cop out and put MVP Lionel Messi and Golden Boot Lionel Messi? You're damn right I did, and then I just felt like crap. So like I can't do that again.
Well, I'm glad you
Uh,
switched it.
yeah, because that's I think that's just a written thing, and you know what? We could put that on the thumbnail and get more views.
Yeah.
Messi doesn't win MVP. What? And then reaction face, right? We're professional YouTubers now, so we need to know how to garner the interest, right?
Yeah, gotta get the thumbnail.
Give me that reaction face right now, Connor, so I can just clip it. And
Just your best shocked face.
yes, oh man. Before we get to award predictions, I do want to thank everybody who is listening and or watching for their support over the last couple of months. We have gone absolutely nuclear in our support on YouTube and on Twitter. We've reached 1,000 on both of those platforms. Thank you very much for that. So, and if you're listening and you haven't already, head on over and do it because that's where all the fun is happening. So while we're here now, let's go to our awards predictions. So just a reminder for everybody, we predict at the beginning of every season the MVP, the Golden Boot, the Golden Glove, the Goalkeeper of the Year, the Defensive Player of the Year, the Newcomer of the Year, the Coach of the Year, the referee of the year, which I will tell you, of any part of this episode, I spent the most time prepping because I am getting it right this year. And I've got facts to back it up again. The David Goss Theorem player of the year, for those of you who don't know what the David Goss Theorem is, it is the player who was signed in the summer of last season, who played maybe a couple of handful of games, didn't look so good, who now has a full preseason under their belt and is going to break out. Connor, do you understand that? Because I know last year you struggled.
I hope so. Okay, listen, it's kind of subjective to say whether or not they were successful.
Well, my point is
So I
at the very
think this should
least,
be okay.
Yeah, at the very least, I hope it's better than you did last year, but we move.
It,
We
it can't, probably can't be worse.
You're right. It could if you pick somebody who wasn't signed in the summer last year, it could get worse.
That's
Um,
very true.
yeah, I'm gonna go, and then we're also gonna talk comeback player of the year and young player of the year. Okay, so do we start just with the MVP?
Are we ripping the Band-Aid off straight off the bat?
You want to go? You want to go young player backwards?
Yeah, let's go
Yeah,
young player backwards.
let's go crazy. God, this season 7. We are just crazy, man. Just crazy. Give me
Yeah.
your young player of the year. Who do you think is going to break out from that U22-ish bracket?
I can't wait to pick somebody on my list, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, that player, he's out for the entire year because he tore his ACL in
I'm
preseason."
very
Is
excited
that
to catch you on your first mess up. Yes.
All right. Well, for young player of the year, I've gone for Idan Toklamati in Charlotte. The young striker, 21 years old, I think now. So he technically was, I believe, should still count. His birthday's
Yep.
in August. I think the opportunity's there. I think Charlotte has good attackers around him, and I think that striker spot is his for the taking. So, I think he got his feet wet a little bit last year. Now he gets a full season under his belt. I'm totally going off the assumption that he was mid-year because I don't remember him being the whole year last year.
No, he was there the whole year last year.
Well, I don't
He played
remember him play.
he played behind Big Pat before he got sold.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So it's hopefully the whole year starting under his belt.
Yes.
Um, that's what I meant, of course, because
And listen,
infinite ball
the
knowledge.
ma the magic of editing can fix that if you want me to.
Well, you're gonna edit it to make it sound worse because I know you. Um, but he had I mean he ended up playing a good amount of minutes and he played in a lot of games. But with a full season starting, I think could be a huge year for him with 11 goals last year and 1,800 minutes. It's a good sample, and if you can continue that run of form with more starts under his belt, I mean, you're looking at probably a solid 15 goals for a young player. That's you're gonna have a strong shot at winning this award.
I think it's a good shout. We talked about it in the not so deep dive that he's going to be a player to watch. He looked good in spurts, but there were issues, towards the playoff time where he just wasn't doing the job that was needed of him. And the question that I always had was, is he going to be that guy that's going to get you 15 goals, or is he going to be a 5 to 6 goal player, right? And that's going to determine whether Charlotte finishes in the top 4 or misses the playoffs, in my opinion. But we'll talk about that as we get to predictions. This Young Player of the Year award is a shout out to our friend Caleb Pongratz, who helped us preview the New England Revolution. My Young Player of the Year pick is Dor Turgeman from New England. He just got signed. He was also a shout for David Goss Theorem Player of the Year. However, I thought he did too well last year. He had 3 goals in 3 games, and I think an assist in like a buck 20 minutes or something like that. Like he looked good. And I don't have him as newcomer because I've got somebody else who I think it falls in line with a couple of other things that I'm predicting. But I think in the same case that Anders Dreyer missed MVP last year but won newcomer of the year, I think Dor Tursman misses newcomer of the year but gets young player of the year as a balancing act. Now, I'm not going as spoiler alert. I'm not going so crazy as to say he's going to win the Golden Boot like our friend Caleb is. However, I do think he's going to look really, really good.
Wow, golden boot shout. That
Oh,
is that's a bold prediction right there.
dude, he was on when he was giving me some of those before we hit record, and I was like, yeah, you're out there this year, but I love it. I love the confidence, right? Give me then your comeback player of the year.
Yeah, this spot was definitely supposed to be reserved for Ricky Puig.
Yep.
But it looks like that's gonna have to be 2027 potentially. My comeback player of the year this year, I think the spot's open for him to take it again. I know he was kind of out of the
Oh,
picture
cop
last
out,
year. What?
cop out.
Who do you think I'm going with?
You gonna pick Lewis Morgan?
No, I'm not picking Lewis Morgan.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I've gone for Duncan McGuire here for comeback player of the year.
Oh, wow. Not at all
What?
where I was going with that. When you said he
Uh,
can do it again, I figured he could win comeback player of the year again, which was Lewis Morgan 2 years ago.
no, no, no. I think he can get back to that form where we're talking about like a multi-million dollar move over to Europe. That striker spot's open again.
Mhm.
There's not really as much competition on the roster right now. I saw stuff saying that he's healthy, good to go this year. I know he had shoulder issues last year. I feel like, as long as he can stay healthy for the year, I really do feel like he can find that form again. That's getting him interest overseas.
Shoulder issues, me too, brother. I feel you. Um, I don't hate it actually. To be fair, I think it's a pretty good shout. I didn't even think about it, but he does have that ability to run out, and I'm not sold on Orlando this year, but we'll talk about that later.
Spoiler alert.
Spoilers. My comeback player of the year is Keaton Parks from New York City. Missed almost all of last year with these blood clots in his leg, and um, sounds like he's in preseason, performing relatively well. And I think that with Andrea Andreas Perea, excuse me, being out for most of the season after that leg injury, it's going to be pretty easy to slide him right in and to get him minutes right off the bat. And if he performs at any level that we're used to seeing him perform at it, I don't think it's going to be very close. I had some short list players here as well. Guys like Aaron Long, if he comes back healthy, is also on the list as somebody who could come back and be a good comeback player of the year. But I think Keaton Parks kind of takes the cake for me.
Yeah, that's a fair shot. I just feel like people tend to like gravitate towards the guys that get the goals and assists. As much as it maybe shouldn't be that, and clearly last year it wasn't. Alex Freeman won it, but I do feel like people
Alex
just
Freeman won
tend
comeback
to,
player of the year.
huh?
Alex
Sorry, no,
Freeman.
I was thinking young player. I got confused with young player. I mean, the point still stands though. Like I feel like awards,
Hmm.
um, typically like I feel like they do favor the people that score versus, the ones that do the dirty work that doesn't show up in the box score.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt. No doubt. Why don't we then jump over to our favorite new category, David Goss Theorem Player of the Year. We need to add more of these, by the way. Every year we need a new thing. So we got to
Just like a
think of one of
random
these.
award.
Yeah, like less like we need award predictions like for the league and then award predictions for us. So like David Goss Theorem Player of the Year or Matt Doyle XG over X or XG XA over GA. Some
We can't
weird.
do that anymore. We lost our
I
XG.
know FBref got nuked. Anyways, who is your David Goss Theorem Player of the Year? I will call you out if it's wrong.
Yes, please do audit my work here. My pick for the Goss Theorem Award is Nicholas Fernandez from NYCFC. Came in midway last year. That one I know. He was the summer signing last year. So we're already step one is complete. Now, the step two is where it gets subjective, right? Like you could talk about how successful a player was. He made 10 starts, played 880 minutes. He had 3 goals, 1 assist. It's not horrible. He wasn't a complete like flop, but I think he can. I think you can. There's enough there that you could say like, okay, he played enough minutes. He's an attacking player. Maybe you could have seen a little bit more goals and assists out of him. He certainly wasn't putting up like 3 goals in 120 minutes. So it's probably borderline, but I think there's an opportunity there in the attack with Martinez out for the year or majority of the year. I don't know how long it'll take him to recover, but I think there's an opportunity in the attack for someone to take advantage of getting the goals and assists, and I think Fernandez could be that person for NYC. So I think it could be a step up year for him.
He was on my short list, but I do think he overperformed to be in this category,
It's
mainly because
I was close. I wasn't 100% sure.
mainly because of how good he was in the playoffs. If you remember watching the playoffs, he was an absolute menace against Charlotte, and he looked really good against Philly as well. I
Well,
had
these are
other
regular
short,
season awards, so that
yeah,
shouldn't
yeah,
count.
maybe. I had shortlisted guys like Dominic Fitz in Montreal. Oh, yikes, Minnesota. He was on the list there, as well as a couple other players, but I ended up with a player from Montreal in Ivan Jaime, a center attacking midfielder who is coming in to pull the strings. Bryce Duke has now moved on. Caden Clark has now moved on. It's going to kind of be on his shoulders to facilitate this team. Do they have the players around him to get him the stats that are going to make this look like he's going to be the best player in the league? Probably not. But I am interested to see if they can start building around him and start putting the right pieces together, right? You've got Prince Owusu up top, who may or may not be very good, right? You've got guys like Olga Escobar. You've got guys like Hennady Sinchuk, who are supposed to have big breakout years, but I'm hoping that Ivan Jaime can facilitate that and get those players up to the next level. All
See,
right.
your bold prediction should have been having anybody from Montreal in the awards category.
That is fair. That is fair. Well, listen, it's time for the biggest. most important award that we will ever predict each and every year. It's the referee of the year. None of us have gotten it right yet. We, and mainly because Drew Fisher has won it both years that we've tried to do this, which is criminal. Why not Drew Fisher? But I want to challenge you to try and get this right. Give me your reasoning behind who you picked for referee of the year.
Okay, my pick for referee of the year, right? So the thought process is what makes a referee good, right? We want a referee that is going to not take the spotlight. You don't want to know the name of the referee. If you're knowing the name of the referee, it's because he's too involved in the game, right? You're there to just make sure that the game is moving along. So with that being said, I looked into, how many yellow cards are they giving? How many red cards are they giving? How many penalties are they giving? And the name that I landed on based off of last year's performance was Marcos de Oliveira because he had 21 matches refed last year, 79 yellow cards, which was a very good yellow card per game stat. Very in line with Drew Fisher's award-winning season last year, mind you. Zero red cards, which is great. He has good control of the game. It doesn't get out of hand, and he only gave 5 penalties last year. So the spotlight was not on him, right? He didn't make it about himself. He let the games flow. He understands that to be a good referee is to have control of the game, but not put yourself in the spotlight. His stat line was very similar to Drew Fisher's award-winning season last year, so I think we're going to see a repeat from him this year, and I think the award's his. I really do.
We are such nerds. So here's my explanation behind it. Okay, so I'm not going to tell you who it is just yet. I'm going to give you the reasoning and then I'm going to give you the name, the big explanation, right? If you look back at the last three World Cup years, two of the three World Cup years, the referee of the year also was a part of the referee pool in CONCACAF to go to the World Cup. Geiger Show. Alan Kelly was not there in 2018, but we also didn't go to the World Cup in 2018. And then in 2022, it was, I forgot who it was. It was insert person here, and that person also refereed at the World Cup. Somebody can fact check me if they really want to. I know how important this prediction is, so please keep me in line. So not only first off, I took a list of all the referees that referee in MLS and also are eligible to referee at the World Cup. Then I cross-referenced that list with Drew Fisher's list, and I landed on two names because I went with not only did I go with number of appearances, but I also went with advanced stats. So you wanted somebody who refereed between 22 and 19 games. That seems to be where the last 7 or 8 referees of the years have landed, right? Not too many games where they have one or two that makes them look bad. Not too few games where people don't even consider them, a real regular referee. Somebody who's right in the middle, and that landed on two names. One of those names is the one that I've chosen, and it's somebody that we are familiar with on the podcast. John Freeman is going to get his flowers 2 years later than I predicted it and win referee of the year again, and then is going to go and be the face of some of the biggest games in the World Cup and his career to the moon. John Freeman, referee of the year. Book it.
Who was the other person that was in your short list?
Was it Guido Gonzalez? It might have been Guido. Now there was a list of 10 of them. So Joe Dickerson was in there, Rosendo Mendoza, Tori Penso, Victor Rivas, Lucas Spala, who you picked last year, or I picked last year. One of us picked last year. He's Mr.
Yeah.
Hold on. And then Rubio Vasquez and Armando Villarreal. Oh, I think it was Villarreal. I think it was Villarreal who was the 2022 guy. So I didn't want to repick him. But John Freeman is going to be the guy.
All right. Well, when we revisit this and we both got it wrong again, we'll tweak our analytics so that we can get it right the next year.
Mark Geiger comes out of retirement is like, I got it, boys. Don't even worry about it. Okay, moving on. Coach of the year. Who do you got?
All right, for coach of the year, this is going to be in line with standings predictions. So expect this team to finish well. But I have gone for Jesper Sorensen out of
Hmm.
Vancouver. Had a really, really good year last year, and I think was unlucky to not win the award. Um, I mean, I think Carnell definitely deserved it, but Sorensen was phenomenal with Vancouver across all competitions last year. And That team feels pretty intact still. And my prediction is that they're going to keep that team intact. So I think they're going to be strong this year, and I think it's going to be behind another strong coaching year from Sorensen.
I like it. So names that are coming to mind right off the bat: Cameron Knowles filling in short term in Minnesota, Tata Martino in Atlanta, kind of guys that pop up to me. I think I'm going to land, and this also goes in line with where I am predicting things. BJ's at the wheel in Nashville. I don't know if you've recognized that, but BJ is firmly at the wheel, taking control after winning US Open Cup. I'm thinking if he is able to produce another season like last year and win something, a supporter shield or some sort, he's in that conversation. And I think I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go BJ Callahan for Coach of the Year in Nashville.
Okay. Okay. I don't hate it. I mean, listen, I think if you're a team like Vancouver and you win the Supporter Shield, you like Sorensen's got a good chance to win the award. Like even if they were second in the West last year or towards the top of the West last year, I think they still got a good shot.
Yeah, for sure. I'm like I said, I think if BJ can take this team, this Nashville team, with a couple of good additions to the top, I think that there is a good shout for him. I'm also going to try and go, again, originally the first instant thought was Javier Mascherano, and I'm like, that's just lame, right? I don't want to do that. So,
It might be the right answer though.
and that's a
It might be
problem. And
lame,
and
but
we've had people on the show before, not naming names, who come in and use terms like, I don't need to be crazy, I need to be right. And that's just lame, and nobody that doesn't get clicks. And obviously, as pro YouTubers and pro podcasters now, we need to get clicks. So we need to
well,
be a
it
little
could
bit
still get
crazy.
clicks if you're doing it with the right person, right? Like when I said Messi's going to win MVP last year, like sure, it's boring, but it was correct, and then you
Yeah,
could put
but
Messi in the
is
thumbnail.
Javier Mascherano on the same level as Lionel Messi? Probably not.
No, but he's in the same ballpark. He's close. I mean,
Maybe.
listen, you're talking about Messi's coach, so then now we've already said his name, so you could put him in the thumbnail.
Hmm. Maybe I put him face to face, like fighting, like Coach of the Year prediction.
Well, it's Valentine's Day. You should put them loving each other.
No, ew, never. Love, ew. The only thing I love are the New York Red Bulls, and they break my heart every year. Um, let's go and move forward then to newcomer of the year, because I think this is an interesting one. Lots of really good signings this year. Very interested to see who you've gone with. I mean, the short list for this was not very short at all. It was very long. I mean, 180 transfers in this year, and we had to pick from one. We had to pick one of them.
Yeah, and I'm going the boring one on this one. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you. I got some more exciting ones down the pipeline, but this one I've gone pretty boring. I've gone for Bertarame here in Miami. I mean, come on now. He's going to benefit so much from an insane Miami attack, and he's already a quality player. If he was going on to any other team, he'd be in the running for this. But for him to go on to Miami, I mean, I think he's going to tear it apart. So for me, I think he's 100% the front runner here.
Sometimes you don't need to be crazy. You need to be right. Put it there, buddy.
Let's go. Yeah.
We got
Right
one.
after he gave the whole speech too.
We got one. Um, yeah, it is. It's lame. Well, and that's the thing. I had my first five predictions, if we were doing it in normal order, were Messi, Messi, insert player here, and then Bertarame and
Mascherano.
Mascherano. It was fully my, and then all of my bold predictions were Miami code. I'm like, this is not happening. Change, 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 change. So, yeah, listen, he is going to be disgusting. He's one of the reasons why I think that Miami is going to be winning a double with a Champions Cup spot in there, or a treble. Really, I think that's also on the table. Dude's going to be disgusting, and I'm excited for it as a neutral, but he's gonna score 15 on Red Bull in the first half. I mean, it's not even gonna be close. It's gonna
I
be
mean, he'll score
brutal.
16 on Atlanta if it makes you feel any better.
I don't know, man. Red Bull only have two center backs. One of them's coming off a knee injury. Anyway, we're not gonna go there just yet. Why don't we talk defensive player of the year? Just jump right into it.
So my defensive player of the year, I think it's finally his time to shine. Give me Jack Mayer out of Nashville. I think Zimmerman's out. This is his defensive line. I mean, Zimmerman was kind of like in and out of the lineup anyway. So you could argue it was his defensive line anyway, but no questions now. This is Jack Mayer's defensive line. I mean, I guess you could maybe say Joe Willis. Anyway, I think he's your defensive player of the year here. I think Nashville's going to, I mean, spoiler alert, I think Nashville's going to be strong. They're always a good defensive team. I think they have guys on the attack now that can control it a bit more, and so Nashville. have to necessarily be on the defensive end as often. And so I think, someone like Jack Mayer is going to benefit from that. So he's always been a strong defender. I think, boosting the team's overall defensive record is only going to help his case here. And, if Nashville has a typical strong defensive year, I mean, he's the guy you look at probably in that back line.
Okay, so a couple things. One, Joe Willis not playing this year. He's backup. He will be back up to Brian Schwake. Schwaki.
Well, you
Whatever
never
you
know. He could end up back in there.
For your sake, I hope so, because you need it. Secondly, you were oh so close to getting this right because I went with his center back partner, Jason Palacios, who I think is going to be even better. And the reason why I think he's in there, they just signed him to a long term extension. And by the way, he might not even play, nor may Jack Mayer, because they just signed this guy, Maxwell Woledzi, who looks like he is going to be the real deal. And I don't know who he displaces. And I thought it'd be Jack Mayer because they just re signed Palacios to a long term deal. Now, I could be completely off on this, but the the thought is that it's going to be Woledzi and partner, and I don't know many first time defenders who come in and win the award. It's usually their center back partner. So I'm hoping it is Palacios, so I can be correct on this one.
Well, we're on the same wavelength. It's just
Yes,
a
we are.
question of
We think Nashville's going to be defensively solid.
who's going to be playing is going to be the question.
Yep. All right. We're up to goalkeeper of the year now. What do we got?
Good thing I don't have Joe Willis in there.
Yeah, that'd be yeah. Good thing I don't have Joe Willis in there.
I didn't. I swear I did not have Joe Willis in there. I mean, hopefully, I listen. I haven't been here for all the not so deep dives, so you're getting insider information that I do not get. So
You're supposed to be
bear with
listening
me.
to every one of those. What's going on? Are you not listening to them?
I barely have time to listen to my own thoughts. Um, my goalkeeper of the year, I've gone for Patrick Schulte in Columbus.
Ooh,
I don't think that Columbus is. They don't feel. I mean, this is a non-Wilfred Nancy team now, and I don't know what that's going to mean defensively for them. What shape they're going to look. Where players are going to line up, and because of that, I think there's going to be more defensive mishaps. And if Columbus is still going to be a strong team, that to me means that Patrick Schulte is going to have stepped up and have stepped up in a way that he can kind of cover for any sort of additional defensive mistakes that happen as the team's kind of adjusting and figuring out what their new look is going to be. So I think he's always been a good shot stopper, and I think this is an opportunity for him, especially in a World Cup year, right? Like this is your opportunity to make your case to be on the team. The goalkeeper spot is open. Yeah, I feel like it's constantly changing who's the number one. So a strong half year here, and you could be on that team just getting into the door, then you can have good training performances. All of a sudden, you're starting a World Cup game for the U.S. So I think it's there for him.
I don't think that the number one goalkeeper spot is up for grabs. I think you're insane for believing that.
Well,
Um,
it keeps changing. It's not like it's, oh, we've had Matt Turner and he's been the number one for the last 5 years. It's like, okay, you could say it's
Matt
Matt.
Freese hasn't missed a game in like a year.
Yeah, but that's recent. Like in terms of international play, that's like what, 10 games?
You make it sound like they change it every single day.
No, I'm not saying change it every single day, but it's like it's like like I'm saying, you're not talking about. Let me think of a good example. You're not talking about
Yeah,
like the Czech Republic and you have Petr Cech in goal, right? Like he's your goalkeeper no matter what. Or Costa Rica and Keylor Navas. If Keylor Navas wants to play, he's your goalkeeper, right? Like it's more open.
no, I don't think it is. I really don't. But that's okay. I'm going to allow you to have your opinions and your thoughts because this is not a dictatorship. You are allowed to have as many wrong opinions and thoughts as you want. And I will not stop you because the goalkeeper of the year is somebody who has been disrespected in the goalkeeper union for far too long and finally deserves his flowers.
William Yarbrough.
Get out. You're canceled. This is a solo podcast again, and I don't have any upset with it. No, it's Brad Stuver out of Austin. Brad Stuver has been a top three goalkeeper for the last 4 years and barely even gets into the conversation of goalkeeper of the year. Last year, he was statistically the number one goalkeeper of the year, and it showed because Austin gave up 12 goals. I mean, obviously that's an exaggeration, but I mean, they were fantastic defensively. They made the playoffs on a -8 goal differential. They scored like 30 goals. So I think 38 or 40 goals or something is what they conceded. That's insane. Brad Stuver deserves his flowers for keeping his team in game after game after game. And I think that he finally gets it this year now that they're also going to have an attack that takes some pressure off of him. So big ups, Brad. You get flowers in our book. Hopefully, we get to see you get them from MLS. All right. Does your Golden Glove match your goalkeeper of the year? Usually it doesn't. Want to see if it matches this year?
It does not.
Mine either.
I'll go first. My Golden Glove pick for this year, a guy that's consistently strong, but is not top of the top, I would say, in goalkeepers. I'm going for Takeoka out of Vancouver. I'm going in line with the Vancouver having another strong year.
Hmm.
Um, I think they're going to be solid defensively, especially with how good that midfield is. And I think Takeoka, while probably having another solid season, won't be a like an 80% save percentage kind of guy. But he'll get like low 70s and rack up the clean sheets because he's got a strong defensive structure in front of him.
Interesting. I don't think it's terribly far off. I think he was. I mean, he was goalkeeper of the year finalist last year and in the conversation. I went with Romain Solitano in Cincinnati. It's one of those ones that I just didn't see any real non-Miami comparison, right? I mean, we could have gone Dane St. Clair again in Miami, who's going to have, a good year. Lloris, not sold on him. Takioka was an option. San Diego, you have Cisniega who's playing right now, but when CJ Dos Santos gets healthy, they're going to split time. Nashville's got Brian Schwake. Seattle is going to go, it looks like maybe with Andrew Thomas, but we're not sure about that. Roman Berkey, maybe, right? Don't know who's playing in Atlanta. Blake and Andrew Rick are splitting time. Um, Minnesota's got Drake Callender coming off of an injury. Maybe. New England, Matt Turner. And that's the top kind of handful of group. And then you got Matt Freese, who, they lost Justin Hack, so maybe. And then everybody underneath that, I don't know if I can trust. So it almost was like by process of elimination that I went Celentano, and it was between one of like three players, and I just didn't want to go with Miami. So
I thought about Celentano too, but
yeah,
Miazga's such a wild card that it was hard to go with it because if he
fair.
plays and he keeps himself on the field, I think it's definitely a strong pick. But he's like it's so hard to tell if he's going to be around, whether it's suspensions or injuries.
Love it. Well, let's go to the big ones then. Let's go Golden Boot. Who do you got?
I'll tell you, my Golden Boot and MVP pick are the same person. So
Ooh.
if you have different, I'll let you go Golden Boot first.
I do have different. Okay, so I've gone Golden Boot. Son Heung-min. I think that he is going to blow up for LAFC. I think it's going to be just a super fun team, right? You've got guys like Bouanga, who I think is finally going to have to learn how to pass the ball. He's great on set pieces. On the other side, you've got Schaffelberg in pace. You've got David Martinez, who's setting him up, and he's just such a clinical finisher and a fighter. I think that he is going to have a really good year. There is also the idea that Denny Bouanga is going to be sold at some point soon, so it's going to fall on him to be the goal scorer. And again, if he gets sold, I know somebody else is coming in, but he'll be the focal point. Um, so that's kind of where I went with that. I think it'll be a good year for him.
I like it. Obviously, I got the scarf. I like it.
Yeah, yeah.
My pick for Golden Boot and MVP, I did not go Messi. I've gone for
Ooh.
Sam Surridge out of Nashville.
Way! Big ups in Nashville.
Yeah, yeah. I think Nashville finally, for years, we talked about them trying to find their striker. I think he proved last year they finally have found their striker and their buddy to help out Hani Mukhtar. And not only that, they've added even more help around this team this year. Like there's so much attacking talent in the team. And I think Surge is going to benefit from that, whether it's, taking eyes off of him or just having people play make for him. I think he's going to bag tons of goals this year. I think what you mentioned before about Messi kind of like putting more focus on the World Cup is going to benefit him also. I don't think Surge is going to be in the conversation for the England team, so I think his full attention is going to be on MLS. Having Hani in the same bucket is going to be helpful as well. Christian Espinosa, all these guys are going to be able to just put their focus on Major League Soccer. And I think it's going to benefit big time for him and the team. I think he's going to have a huge year. He's going to score tons of goals. The only thing that may hurt him is I don't know if he would be the penalty guy or if Hani's still the penalty guy. So that'll take some away from him potentially. But I mean, he still bagged so many goals last year, regardless of that.
Mhm.
So, and he's got even more help this year. So I think it's a big year for Sam Surridge this year.
It's a good shot. I like it. I don't know why you're disparaging him about being in the England team. If he was playing in that Farmers League in Germany where that Harry Kane guy is, what does Harry Kane have? Like 25 goals in 14 games? Like he'd have 45. I mean, it's just levels, you know. If Harry Kane was here,
Yeah, that's
he
fair.
might break 10, if he was lucky.
I mean, if he was playing in the second division in Slovenia, he'd probably get called into the team.
I would imagine so. Yeah, he deserves it, right? I mean, not playing in this uh, non promotion relegation, whatever league. Yeah, now you got me off topic. We're not going there. My MVP pick, he will get his due. That's not the right way to put it, but he got slighted last year because Messi went superhuman. It won't happen again. Anders Dreyer at San Diego is gonna win MVP. I mean, the numbers he put up last year win MVP in MLS every single year except maybe Carlos Vela year. Maybe. They were just it was superhuman what he was doing. And then Lionel Messi was like, hold my non-alcoholic beer because I'm playing and I don't drink. This is what I'm gonna do. And then went nuclear. Now that Messi, we just talked about, is going to kind of fall off a little bit and maybe not fall off, but focus on other things. I think this is prime Anders Dreyer territory to win an MVP. Hook it to my veins.
All right, all right. I don't hate it, but I don't think it's correct either.
Listen, I just said you're entitled to as many wrong thoughts as you want. You can have as many as you want. I'm not going to stop you. So please continue. And let's continue right into the Western Conference prediction. We're going to save the Eastern Conference for last. They always go first. They can wait a little bit. Let's do the Western Conference. Give me 15 to 1. I'll give you my 15 to 1 and we'll talk about it.
Here we go. This is always my favorite part where I start reading my list and you're just silently making facial expressions about my predictions. All right. So my
Hold on,
15 to
hold on, hold
1.
on. Before you get there, can you just tell me why you've got Houston at 1 this year? Because I know you were so high on them last year. They made some good additions, right? You got them at 1 this year?
I gotta hedge my bets this year. All right. Too high, too low. Gotta find a place in the middle for them. All right, 15 to 1, Western Conference. I've got Sporting KC, San Jose Earthquakes, FC Dallas, RSL, St. Louis, Colorado Rapids, Portland Timbers, LA Galaxy, Houston Dynamo, Austin, Minnesota, San Diego, Seattle, LAFC, and I've got Vancouver topping the Western Conference.
Very good. Oh, I have somebody in the wrong spot here. Oh, please.
Ah, he's making changes last minute. He's
Yeah,
copying my list.
I'm not copying. I was supposed to move pieces around based off of what I set up before, but I forgot that one piece. So here's what I've got for you. 15 to 1. And again, we have to make predictions off of what we have on the 14th of February. So Sporting Kansas City, all 12 players of your roster, you're finishing in 15th. Sorry. So at 15, I've got Sporting KC. At 14, I've got San Jose. At 13, I've got Colorado. At 12, I've got Portland. At 11, I've got Dallas. 10, I've got RSL. 9, I've got Houston. 8, I've got Austin. 7, I've got LA Galaxy. 6, I've got Minnesota. 5, I've got St. Louis. 4, I've got Seattle. 3, I've got San Diego. 2, I've got Vancouver. And 1, I've got LAFC. Let's talk about it. So we'll do them in brackets again, right? So we'll do the 10 to 15 group, 5 to 9, and top four because there's no sense in going, oh yeah, we agreed on San Jose and SKC. That's great. Um, so I've got Portland missing the playoffs. You've got them going. Talk to me about why.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not crazy on Portland, to be honest with you. I would not be opposed to somebody making the argument of them missing the playoffs. I think on paper, there's a couple of players there that are pretty strong and I think could help them out. I think they're a little thin in certain areas, but I like the addition of Brandon Bai. I think banking a little bit on DaCosta kind of finding his footing a little bit more than he has last year. He was definitely disappointing. Um, They have Velde, they have Kelsey, they still have some familiar names in the back line with Kamal Miller and Sermon. Um, so I think there's enough continuity there to keep them in the fight for the playoff spot. And I'm kind of banking on their star players doing a little bit more than they did last year to just get them a little bit further than the other teams that are just behind them in my list to like just squeak them into the playoffs. But again, I'm not like I would definitely not sell my soul on Portland being in the playoffs. I'm not convinced by them a lot.
Yeah, it's the current construction, right? So three total center mids on roster. They did just add Cole Bassett, so make that four now, but one of them is 40 years old. They didn't have a ton of depth in attack, and Omir Fernandez just went down, who was going to be my breakout player as a guy off the bench, and that's not going to happen. Haven't really brought in anybody to circumvent that, right? Velda's going to look good. Anthony's going to look good. They did let go of J-Rod, so again, lack of depth. They haven't really reinvested in there. It is just as of right now, the roster construction isn't thrilling to me. And with the West always being a conference where spots 5 through 7 are separated by a point, and then spots 5 through 9 are separated by 3 points, and everybody else is out. One bad game, drops you, and if you don't have the depth and you have to rotate for whatever reason, somebody gets sick, injured, whatever, that game could bump you. So I've got them just missing out in 12th. You also had Colorado, Colorado, RSL, RSL, Dallas, Dallas, San Jose, San Jose. Oh, okay, so then you had St. Louis missing, and I have them in fifth. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I learned my lesson last year. That's what that's what we're talking about here. I went high on St. Louis last year. I learned my lesson, so I'm unfortunately for St. Louis fans, I'm horribly off that. So I'm being more conservative on it this year. It doesn't like there's definitely talent in the team. I don't question that, but it seems like they're struggling to get the most out of the talent in the team, and it's not like there's been huge turnover in who's going to be playing a part this year. I think with the right coach, I could see them getting up, or the right like getting sorry, not the right coach, getting the right pieces to click together and make it work and getting the best out of this team. I could see them finishing in a spot where you have them, but I'm just not sold on it considering how things went last year.
See, I disagree because I think that they had a lot of pieces that made sense last year, and the coach was the problem. They moved the coach on. They've got somebody in who they're excited about. It's a Wilfred Nancy tree kind of branch, if you will, who is going to come in and kind of reinvent things. And we talked about this before that the one thing that this league is doing is starting to rely on the creativity of young coaches, right? You saw Eric Ramsey come in. You've got now Michael Bradley and Matt Wells and Johan DeMay and all these sorts of coaches who are doing well without being a part of the old boys club. So I'm excited that he's going to find ways to get the most out of these players, being an assistant for so long. The other thing I love their additions, right? I think, you've got guys like Danny Edelman coming in who's going to make up for, he's going to be an improvement on guys like Chris Durkin. You've got Rafael Santos, who might finally be the answer for them at left back, left wing back. You've got center back signings who are going to come in and be successful and strong in front of a Roman Berkey, who you haven't had that in a while. The only thing that they're missing, and I think that it comes sooner rather than later, is a replacement for João Klaus. If you don't get that, then I'm on board with you, right? I think that there is, but you have 3 weeks into the season to get that replacement in the door. And I know that they're working on it, and I'm sure that it will come in at some point. But for me, it is a team that when they do get it in, they are going to be very competitive because they already have those pieces. The Toy Shark, who's coming off of injury, the Hartels, the Edward Leuven when he's around. Obviously, he's got family stuff that he's got to worry about that. We hope he's doing well with, but all of these pieces that are already in place that should have been successful last year, I think will be successful this year.
Okay. I mean,
And
that's listen, that's the shot I took last year. It didn't
yep.
pan out, so
Well,
it's your turn.
you took that with a couple teams like Houston and other teams like that. In the middle 5 to 9 range, we're very, very close, right? We talked about Portland already. We both have the Galaxy in there. We both have Houston in there. We both have Austin in there. We both have Minnesota in there. So, and I had St. Louis. You put Portland in there. So we're very close on there. And then our top four are the same. Is there any reason you picked Vancouver over LAFC this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think I really like the way that Sorensen has this team playing. And for the most part, outside of Ali Ahmed, they're pretty much running it back.
Mhm.
Um, and they're only getting healthier because at the end of last season, they were just gutted with injuries, especially in the playoffs. It was just like it was like a rotating door at center back. So I think if he's only going to get more of his guys healthy and back into the team, I think that's great. Um, I think you've got guys in that could be your Ali Ahmed replacement as much as it's gonna he's a hard guy to replace. I think he is an important part of this team. I think they're set up to. I think the biggest thing for me too, and I talked about it in the playoffs, is this duo of Kubas and Berhalter in the midfield. I think is arguably the best midfield duo in the league, and I think that is so important for the success of this team. Um, I think LAFC is still really strong, but there's more moving parts that are going on with LAFC than there are with Vancouver. And I think with that, well, potentially more moving parts, I'll say. If Bouanga does leave, like you had mentioned, like that's something that's gonna, even if they replace him, it's gonna take some time to be able to mesh and get the chemistry together and all that. I think Vancouver, my bold prediction, they keep that team consistent for the year. And I think if they do that, they're gonna be the one that every other team has to try to beat to top the West.
I like it. I think it's a good point, and I think LAFC just under new leadership breaks free from the I don't want to say the like monotony of Sharundalo, but they get new ideas. They get to figure out how to be a different team and unlock the potential of certain players, right? I think Steven Eustachio coming in is going to be a huge addition to them. And they
Yeah.
missed that midfield player to shuttle the ball and create chances centrally that wasn't just, hey, get ball, kick to guy over there and let them do thing, right? He's going to give them that extra layer to say, okay, if we have to play out, let's play out through the midfield. We don't have to go direct every time, right? I think David Martinez takes a step forward. I think that back line stays as strong as you like. Um, and they've got some players on the outside, and we were talking about it, like to the point where Ryan Hollingshead may not be a mainstay anymore, right? They've got players who can step up and be a bigger part of it. So, I think the big thing for me is how quickly can you get Igor Jesus back and healthy. However long that takes, is the person who's stepping in for him going to do a good enough job? And that'll determine it. But I do have the faith that they'll be okay. Um, Mainly, and it might come from the fact that Vancouver might go on another deep run into Champions Cup, and that might leave LAFC some wiggle room early on, right? And we already know San Diego's making at least the next round after they killed Pumas. What a great series. We can talk about that all day long, but why don't we sit here and chat about the Eastern Conference and wrap this baby up? Give me your 15-1.
All right, 15-1 Eastern Conference. I've got Toronto FC, the New England Revolution, Montreal, DC United, New York Red Bulls, Orlando City, Atlanta, NYC, Chicago, Charlotte, Philly, Columbus, Cincinnati, Nashville, and Miami topping the Eastern Conference.
Who are New York Red Bulls?
Who are they? A non-playoff bound Major League Soccer team.
Clearly not. You must have missed the news in your very busy life. We are now officially Red Bull New York. New York Red Bull does not exist anymore. So it is changed on all the socials. So all these scarves here that say New York Red Bulls, yeah, that's right. They are collection items now because that never exists anymore. Couple of interesting picks there, mate.
Oh, we're
Um,
going to talk about it after you read
yeah,
your
we
list.
are. Yeah, we are. 15, I got DC United. 14, I got Montreal. 13, I got TFC. At 12, I've got Red Bull New York. At 11, I've got Orlando. At 10, I've got Charlotte. At 9, I've got Columbus. At 8, I've got Chicago. At 7, I've got New York City. 6, I've got New England. 5, I've got Philly. 4, I've got Atlanta. 3, I've got Nashville. 2, I've got FCC. And 1, I have Miami. All right, let's break this down first. And actually, before we do that, why don't we put it this way? Supporter Shield, LAFC or Miami? I'm sorry, for you, Vancouver or Miami?
I really don't want to pick the boring pick here. I really don't, but I think it's Miami. I mean, to be honest with you, you can use this as a clip if you want or whatever. I think on paper, Miami's team is the best team we've ever seen in Major League Soccer. So,
It's not a clip because that's exactly what I've made my bold predictions off of. When I talk about record for points, it's going to be Miami because what was the issue with Miami last year? Their back line was awful, right? The games that they lost 5-4. or not obviously that's an exaggeration, right? But they lost the
Yeah.
big scoring games. Now that they've brought in the players that they have, who's going to stop them, right? And then
Yeah.
when I talk about the double or the treble that includes a CCC, I think Supporter Shield is going to be one of them because I just don't think that anybody can stop them from. Because not only are they good in their starting 11, but they're also deep again, right? They're deep enough in almost every position. I mean, when we talked about Aaron Herons, they made a really good point because my worry was like, oh, I don't know, they're good on the starting 11, but are they deep enough? They're like, you seem to forget that every backup last year just won MLS Cup. Yeah. Yeah, you're right, right? Like, the Noah Allens of the world who were bang on starting left center back are now the backup to Mikael. It's like,
Hmm.
okay, yeah, that's a really nice, I don't want to say downgrade, but it's a nice if you need to go be reserve, there you go, right? You mentioned Suarez. Suarez coming in for rotation minutes, fine, whatever, but it's going to be a dirty team, dude.
Yeah, seriously.
All right, so let's talk about this for a second. TFC, Montreal, DC, Red Bull, Orlando, all in the bottom six. I can agree with that. You've got New England at 14. I've got them at six. Talk to me.
Listen, you got to take this with a grain of salt. All right. You have context from not so deep dives that I may not.
Oh, so it's because you don't know ball, is what you're trying to say. I
No, no, no.
like
You're
it.
getting
Please own
insider
up.
information. You're doing insider trading is what you're doing. That's what it sounds like based on the little hints you're dropping during this episode. Um,
Audit me. Do it.
to be honest with you, when I look back at the team here, I probably have been a little bit harsh on New England, but I still am not super convinced by them. I'm not in love with the back line. I don't think it's bad, but I'm not in love with it. And I'm also just not in love with the midfield either. I think the attack is there. Campagna, Heel, and Turgman. I don't know how do you pronounce his name. I know you pronounced it before, but I already forgot. Um, I think the attack is there, but I'm just not super convinced by the rest of the team. And I'd have to double check it to verify it, but I feel like I remembered it being a bit thin, and certainly in some spots as of right now. So I just wasn't feeling crazy about it. I feel like the whole culture in New England has been poor for years, and it's a hard thing to break out of. I know they have their coaching change, so you kind of
Mhm.
that's your opportunity to kind of change the culture and make it better. But it's been such a bad direction for New England for a few years now. I just didn't see enough in the offseason that I think they would swing that in the right direction into a playoff spot.
Yeah, you see, I disagree there. I think I like the coaching change. I think Mitrovic is going to be a really good addition to them. Caleb Porter was such a soul-sucking figure, right, for lack of a better term, and he was. I mean, players just stopped playing for him, right? So now you got Mitrovic in. He's again another young guy, somebody I didn't even mention before, right? Young guy, new ideas. Who's going to come in? And Mikey Varas, by the way, is another one that I didn't include there. Young guy, new ideas. They're giving him the tools that he wants to work with, right? Griffin Yao coming in and um, as one kind of clear example, but he likes working with the young player. Brooklyn Reigns into the midfield is another one. Matt Turner in goal is a huge advancement over Ivan Ivicic. I think he is going to be a big step up for them. And then, lest we forget, Carlos Heel was the best chance creator in MLS last season with some of the worst underperforming goal scorers in the league, right? I mean, Campagna was hurt for quite a while and didn't kind of kick off. And now you've got Turgeman coming on, and you saw it. Just 200 minutes of Dor Turgeman and Carlos Heel gave you 4 goal contributions in games that didn't matter, yes, but you've got a front three that's going to make it work, right? And I think you let Carlos Heel do his thing, get Turgeman involved, get Leo Campagna on the ball significantly more frequently than he did last year. This team is going to win a heck of a lot more games. And we were talking about it at the beginning of the recording. The East is not nearly as good as it used to be, where it used to be like, oh man, there are 6, 7 teams that
I'm gonna leave right now. I swear.
there are a handful of teams that are going to finish top 4 every year. And now it feels very much like the West, where you've got your kind of number one. 2 to 5 is a handful of teams, and then 6 to 10 is a handful of teams. Like there aren't really clear cut boundaries anymore in the West or in the East, and it makes it kind of difficult to say a win here or there doesn't bump you from 10 to 6, right? So, um, I'm big on New England. I think they're going to have a good year. Are they going to be MLS Cup contenders? Probably not. Are they going to fight for the Shield? Probably not, right? But I am excited to see, what they can do, and maybe they do something cool and like go on a U.S. Open Cup run or something.
Guess we'll have to wait and see.
All right, the to the middle here. We both have Chicago in the middle group. We both have New York City in the middle group. Both have Philly in the middle group, which I thought was interesting. But we'll talk Charlotte first. You had Charlotte at 6. I had them at 10. Because I had them the low, I'll start here. And I pretty much said that in a year over year basis in the East, you always have one team that just kind of falls off from where they used to be, right? The Columbus and Orlando last year were kind of the big focus, right? For me last year, they both ended up in the playing game after being perennially top four. This Charlotte team feels like it will be that. It is another year older of Christian Kalina, another year older of Tim Ream. You've got Addison Milanda who's gone, right? You're now relying on Idan Tokolamati to be the guy. Their wing play is Wilfred Zaha, who shows up once every 3 games, and insert winger here who may or may not perform. And then you've got a center midfield duo or trio of Brant Bronico, yippee, Luca De La Torre, who I think is going to be a great addition for them. He's going to be what Eric Williamson was supposed to be, and Jabril Gianni, who is the walking traffic cone of MLS. It just feels like there is a lot of space here for this team to take a step back. And I also mentioned that I think Dean Smith may have hit a wall with this group and gotten the most out of them. And eventually his tactics are going to run dry and he won't have an answer. So um, I just think of like there's always one odd team out. And I think it's going to be Charlotte this year.
I think for me, I mean, I do see them taking a step back, and I don't think they're in the conversation for that top four-ish teams up there. The biggest problem for me is the back line. I'm not super convinced by the back line.
Hmm.
I think Kalina's a great goalkeeper, but the four in front of him, definitely some question marks for me. I think the midfield's okay. I agree with you. I really like the addition of Luca De La Torre. I've always really liked what he's done with the USMNT, and so I would love to see him get more consistent starting time here. I know for San Diego, I don't believe I remember seeing him play often for them, so it'd be good to see him come into Charlotte and be a more everyday starter there. I don't remember if you meant, did you mention Westwood in the midfield for them?
I didn't. That was the one. So I was trying to figure out who was playing next to Bronico, and it's Westwood. It's not Diani. You're right. That's my fault. And because when I was making these, I wasn't looking at the rosters. I was thinking off the hand. And a buddy of mine who is a Charlotte fan, we consistently complain about Jabril Gianni, so it was just on the mind. So good point. Yeah, I messed that up, and that's probably enough to at least bump them a touch higher. But then who do you drop? Right? Am I going to drop Columbus out? Am I going to drop Chicago out? Absolutely not. I will never, ever disrespect my boy Triple G. So, um, and I now I sit here thinking, okay, well, if I'm buying New England stock, then there's really not anybody else. There's still the odd team out, regardless of if it's Diani or if it's Westwood. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think a midfield duo Westwood and Luca Del Torre could be solid for them. I personally like it at least. And I think the attack is good. I mean, I know Zaha struggled a lot last year and just ghosting a lot of the time, but even with all that, he still managed to get 15 goal contributions. Like the guy is just very talented. Like I think even if he's not fully committed there, like he's still going to contribute. Um, and I think Toklamati is going to have a great year for them, as shown by my predictions. So
yeah. Well, he
I think there's just enough there for me to still keep them in that mid pack race.
Sure, sure. The thing is, Zaha leaves in June. He's not a full year. To my knowledge, he's not a full year loan. I may be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure they extended him through June. So if he leaves and they still don't have somebody to replace him, that is now Kerwin Vargas, Lyle Abada, and they're selling Nimfasha Berchimas. And they sold Brandon Cambridge. Um, yeah, couldn't tell you who's going there. And maybe they've signed somebody, or maybe they have signed somebody, and I'm just blanking on it, but it looks like they're thin up top. And if you watched anything, putting Brant Bronico in that team, you're going to have to drop Bronico for Luca De La Torre because that's just the role he goes in. But they relied on Bronico to do so much extra work in that system. I mean, he was playing center defensive mid, and then as soon as they won the ball, he was sprinting up to play as a second striker. I watched it multiple times in person. It was ridiculous. Luca Del Torre, not going to do that. So you got to reteach the system and figure out how to play a different way. If you're going to drop Bronico, or you're going to play Bronico as a false nine, with Tokomati out wide. There's just so many ways you can do it, but you need to figure it out. They're just the odd team out for me.
When does a question for you? When does Pep Biel come back?
He should be back. He missed the playoff, but I think he's back ready to play. Which is another. You're right. That's another player we completely forgot about.
I mean, he was
Oh,
massive for them last year.
oh man. I was going off of their late year run. I was looking back at like the New York City stuff, and totally forgot. Oh man,
You're gonna have to make some changes,
this is what
or
happens
you
when you
just
do
stick with it.
30 team previews. Is everything just all into one?
Yeah. No,
I've
I
got
get it. It's
I've got
hard.
no my brain's go like I'm missing the biggest name. And again, he was injured and stuff. But again, then who am I gonna like, am I gonna drop Columbus out? I'm,
That's
I'm not
hard.
dropping Chicago. New York City's on the bubble. I mean, I could talk about New York City
You could
dropping.
probably drop New York
I
City.
probably could, and you know what? I wouldn't even feel bad about it, to be fair. Like,
Well, I know you wouldn't. That's for sure.
no, I'm gonna keep it there. I'm gonna trust my gut
All
and
right.
say that because and here's the thing, by the way, I had this prediction, you know, range in the not so deep dive. So I kind of put the ranges next to each team. They are the first team to have a double digit in their range. A lot of the teams had 1 to 3 or 5 to 8 or 5 to 7, 6 to 9. Charlotte is the first team I had 7 to 10. So they're just on the outside looking in, and I don't feel bad about it.
Okay. Get him,
So
Charlotte.
yeah, please
He's
do.
close
And
enough
and,
to you.
and
Get
by the
him.
way, and by the way, I'd love to be wrong because that means if they make the playoffs and Red Bull make the playoffs, I get to go see Red Bull in the playoffs. Say less.
All right. Keep dreaming. Let's
Yeah,
slow down here.
let's everybody be wrong. And we joke about this all the time. All we really need to do is just flip the table. And we're usually right most of the time. So Charlotte and Red Bull going head to head. Yeah, I'd love to see that. The last big one here that we need to talk about before we move, we end the episode. I've got Atlanta at 4. You've got them at 9. Not trusting your boys, not trusting the return of Tata.
I'm trusting it to some extent. All right. I'm not saying they're finishing 14th again this year. I think Tata Martino is a fantastic coach and he's going to come in, he's going to make changes and start to get this team in the right direction. But I think it's going to take him some time to find the right players here. Like I'm not convinced in the back line still. I know that they've been making changes there, but I still think there's work to do. And who knows? They've been making a lot of changes. Who knows how it's going to mesh together? I'm not convinced by the midfield as well. Moranchuk has been underwhelming to say the least. It'll be interesting to see a full year of Alzate in there. Moyumba, I think is probably your other midfield option there if you're going to go with three. He's fine. I think he's a solid player, but he's not like you're not talking like Miami type of lineup with you know what we're looking at right now. And the attack is where you kind of like that's where all your big money is, but these guys just couldn't click together at all. And so it's going to be a question of like, all right, well, Tata Martino is going to be your test. Is it the fact that these guys just cannot click and play together, or was it a coaching issue last year? And I'm not so convinced that it was a fully a coaching issue last year. I don't know if these guys mesh well together with the ways that they play. So Tata Martino is going to be the guy to determine that here. If they can't get it to work with him in charge, then I think it's definitely a question, a thing of them not being able to mesh together. I think some players are going to fit in his system and he's going to get the best out of them, but it's going to take him some time to figure out who that is and bring in the people that he wants to fill those other gaps for the players that are not performing.
See, I think this is very similar to St. Louis for me. They had the pieces to be successful last year, and the coach stunk and took every bit of ability out of that team to the point where they stopped playing for him. I don't think anybody looks at Tata Martino and says, "Yeah, no, I don't trust the way you're going to do things, and I'm not going to run through a wall for you." So I think you see Latiolate come back to be a 15 to in the golden boot rate sort of blah, 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 in the golden boot race sort of player. I think you see Miguel Marone come back and be at a MLS best 11 caliber type of winger. Miranchuk goes to being a serviceable designated player, not a killer, but serviceable enough. You get the best out of guys like Saba Lobjanidze, right, who has kind of been underwhelming over the last couple of years. You got new wingback help right now that is going to, lift you up, and you've got center backs in that were significantly better than they were last year, and a new goalkeeper. The pieces are there, I think, to, regardless of who goes in goal, whether it is Jaden Hibbert or Lucas Hoyos, I don't see a lot of holes in this group, and I thought that I didn't see a lot of holes last year. I think I put them second or third last year. So the fact of the matter was that they didn't really lose a ton, but those that moved on, they've replaced, they've improved upon, and they got a better coach in the door. So I'm all on board for Atlanta here. Now again, is 4 too high? Maybe, right? Could Philly jump into 4 and Atlanta fall out? Maybe, right? But I think Philly takes a step back from Bradley Cardinal's second year curse. New York City missing Alonso Martinez drops them. Chicago is, not quite there yet. And quite frankly, I think I've got Columbus a touch too low. And we didn't even talk about them, did we? Yeah, they're up next. Talk to me about Columbus. I've got them at 9. You've got them at 4. I'm the low one here, so let me actually start here. And it was when you don't have Darlington Nagbe, you are a different team. We've seen multiple times that Darlington Nagbe less teams the year after he leaves are very bad. Now, is Columbus with their new coach going to be the same level? Don't know, right? Wissam Abu Ali hurt last year. Is he going to come back and be the designated player that we think he should be? Don't know, right? Because these are all guys that Rydstrom didn't bring in. They're all Wilfred Nancy guys. So if they don't fit his system, see you later, right? And it may take him time to figure out who that person is.
Yeah. I just think for me, there's enough talent still in this team for them to be a top four. And I think it's mainly because the East is weak this year. I think if we're looking at stronger years of the East with this Columbus team in it, I probably have them closer to the bottom of the playoff chase. But considering the East is a little bit weak this year, I think I'm putting my eggs in the basket that Abu Ali is going to come back and be strong for them. I'm
Mm-hmm.
putting my eggs in the basket that Gazdag is going to be able to turn it around and find that form that he had in Philly. And we already know what Diego Rossi is capable of. So that's kind of your big three guys there. But then, you still have other players on this team who are very talented. You still have Max Arston on this team, Malte Amundsen. There's still other people that are going to contribute and be solid role players on this team. While your big money signings go out there and try to be the stars here, and I think that there's enough there that they can still be relatively in the star category, I would say. I mean, I think you always know what you're going to get at Diego Rossi. I think the question mark is going to be Gazdag and Abu Ali.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the fun of it. As much as you want to say, yeah, I think these teams are going to be kind of nailed on. We are significantly off pretty much every year. I'm looking back at now. Philly, I'm just looking at my predictions. Philly top the East, I had them in 12th. FCC second, I had them in 5th. Charlotte, I had them first, they finished 4th. New York City, I had 11th, they finished 5th. Nashville, I had 9th, they finished 6th. And then Atlanta, I had 2nd, they finished 14th. There is Red Bull, I had 3rd, they finished 10th. There's just no rhyme or reason, my friend. So that's a lovely bit of MLS that we get to be a part of. It is so much fun, and we'll look back on this in 10 months and figure out who was wrong and me. So Connor usually is wrong, and I am usually right outside of what I just said. Don't quote me on it. But please leave your thoughts in the comments. We are going to do a question of the week. So we will see who you guys think are going to finish in the Supporter Shield and MLS Cup race and things like that. So make sure you get involved with that. Make sure you go follow us on all social media platforms, which right now is TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Blue Sky, and sometimes Instagram. I'm not super active on that anymore, but we've already crossed the 1,000 subscriber and 1,000 followers on the YouTube and the Twitter. So please continue to be a part of those communities so we can interact with you, and then follow us wherever you get your podcasts so you know the next time we go live. Connor, it was great having you here. Listeners, thank you for listening and or watching wherever you are, and we'll see you next time on the next episode of the Designated Players and MLS Podcast. See ya.